Hello.
We lost Wickman. He was here for a second, and now he's gone.
We heard him.
We lost him?
We lost him.
Oh.
He may have fell down. You never know.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
He crashed the office chair.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if they ever have a movie about a superhero that is named because he spends so much time in the ER, it will be Wickman.
He's running out of shit to break at this point.
Super
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work, Chad. That R is a little bit too strong there.
Oh, God.
We're going to have to wrap him in air-conditioned bubble wrap.
I know, exactly. God,
you ever see those? I don't know what they're called. The big blow-up bubbles they have where you roll down a hill in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the video of the guy who's in one of those things that gets hit by a car and launched into the trees?
No, but I love
image in my head right now.
Hello, Barnalicious and Neil and Bass Knuckler and RT and Edward. Oh, and Lycan in the house as always.
Oh, hey, Lycan.
Lycan red lighting or whole shotting everybody. The blind guy, treeing everybody. You know. So Barn, France makes cars. Yes, we're gonna get to that. On today's show, we have the craziest, broadest mix ever. So undoubtedly, some of you are going to ask about vibes from the Vibe 200 race, which we talked about last week on Triple B. So if somebody asks, we'll answer that later. But McTaggart is fresh from France. So he's speaking
fresh.
Well, yeah. Well, fresher than the French.
Wow.
And
yeah, he showered this week.
Exactly. And we're also going to talk about France. We're going to talk about French cars, and we're also going to talk about sideshow laws in California, which I'm hoping that we will get a guest on for that. But I'm not sure if he's going to be able to join us or not. I sent him a text message, so we'll see. But yeah. So, but before we get to that, let's talk France. And first off, McT, where did you go? Why did you go? How long were you there?
So the beauty of being married to my wife is that she works with a college for study abroad. And part of her job description allows her to do what's called a site visit, which means she gets to go check on the classes, make sure that everything's going smoothly, that it's what the university wants, it's what the students should expect, and that everything's, copacetic. What this meant is that effectively the university paid for 75% of our trip, and we just had to cover my big ass.
Nice.
Fine.
Cool.
So,
which is basically airfare and food, right?
airfare, food, and my hotel.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But yeah, everything on her end is covered. The
That's
So you
food
get to stay in the same hotel with your wife?
that kind of is the way it works. I mean, you don't go to a place like Paris and go, "Good night, honey," and go to your own bed. That's usually not a good start.
But they make you pay for a portion of the hotel room then.
Basically, yeah, my portion of the hotel room wherever we stayed, and my airfare, which
That's awesome.
for a Parisian trip too is a pretty decent score.
That's really cool. Good for you.
Yeah.
So we spent 10 days over the last couple weeks, just kind of sort of observing these courses, talking with the professors in charge, the student leaders, the students themselves. What this really meant in my world, and what any of you all watching really care about, is it meant that I got to go see all the cool shit. I got to go to the Paris Air Show, and I basically walked 56 miles because there's no reason whatsoever to have a car in France. None.
Right.
Pretty much.
So did you lose 10 pounds or did you offset the walking with all the good French pastries?
Oh, give me a break, dude. You're sending me to France. France, if even the most ardent French hater on the planet will say two things about France. The women are beautiful. I'll commend. Everybody's fucking beautiful. Sorry, I got to remember I'm live. Everybody is pretty in France. Men, women, doesn't matter. Pick your poison, you're good to go. And the food, it doesn't matter if you are at a Michelin-starred restaurant or you just popped into a little side bakery in an alley. You're eating and eating well.
Yep.
Expensive. I don't care what it is. It's expensive, but it doesn't, you could be at the best restaurant in the world or that little hole in the wall shop. Everybody who's making food is putting their entire being into it. So actually, I know I sent you the cars. Give me a second. I'll send you the
things have changed a lot since I've been there then. All I remember was hard bread, cheese, and ham.
Oh, no. Couple more for you, chap. If you want to throw up some food.
I got it. Now, Wickman's back. Hey, what's up, Wickman?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're in Pueblo.
No, I'm in Lakewood.
Okay, that's better.
I switched over probably a month and a half ago to AT&T wireless internet.
Yeah.
And today has been a complete shit show with their outages and whatnot going on. I can't even use my phone in our place. So I'm literally... Oh, I mean, because she hasn't been able to get a hold of me. But I can't even use the phone inside my place. I am literally on the patio of the leasing office to
using
do this.
their Wi-Fi.
So it's no, I'm just using my. I'm on a limited plan, but I'm just had to get away from my place to use my phone.
I'll be
That's
darned.
handy.
That's funny.
I have no idea what the deal is or what. So, fortunate no, I haven't. I had zero issues with them until today. So, but yeah, so I'm out here. Fortunate enough, I'm in the shade. I'm on the patio. I got comfy chairs, shade trees, all that. So it's nice out here.
Nice.
That's supposed to be green.
Yes, it is.
Pistachio cheesecake, I'm assuming.
Pistachio flan.
Ooh. Okay. I'm down.
So I usually don't take photos of food I've already eaten, but
Parisian
pistachio
pizza.
flan, this flatbread pizza, and a drink. I mean, that's just a little side shop. That's $8.
I'll
€8.
take 2, please.
Right. Now, we did go other places. I don't have those photos because I tried not to always be on my camera this trip, but I mean, we hit places that are on the Michelin registry. We hit Italian places. Just if you starve in France, it's your own damn fault. If you say there's no great food in France, you're a liar or you have a medical condition.
Right, exactly.
But nobody, I mean, some go to France for food, but in reality, there's so much more. So, we went and saw the big things. We saw Versailles, we saw Notre Dame, the Conciergerie, which, if you watch the Olympics last year, that's the one where the metal band Gojira played. That's that big building in front of the Seine River. Quite a few more museums. Let's see. We did
What part of the city did you stay in?
We were in the 14th arrondissement, and I butcher that word, but the 14th district. So that is kind of outer south.
Okay. We were like the north. I think it's northeast. We're in Versailles, is where we stayed. Where the stadium is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
I don't either.
When I worked for the French telecom company, I was in France several times or in Paris several times, and we stayed at the Grand Hotel in front of the Opera House, actually.
Cool.
Yeah, which was pretty legit. When you work for a French telecom company, you kind of get spoiled, so it was pretty good. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Let me tell you that it was cool as hell being that close to the middle of everything,
Mm-hmm. But as far as it goes, basically the rundown is what cars were there. 99% of it would bore you. If they're little hatchbacks, SUVs, stuff about the size of a late model Mitsubishi Mirage, nah. There were some like cool European stuff, like things we don't normally get or things you don't normally see. The oddballs like Lancia badged Chrysler products, minivans and 300s that are called something else.
Right.
But there were a few winners, and I only got a couple photos out of the total list. But
so, what was your favorite car that you almost got run over by?
So when we went and visited the Versailles Palace, somebody had a 65 or 66 Mustang drop top, white with light blue gut, on California plates, just cruising up the front road right in front of the palace.
That's cool.
Like the ultimate neck break. Like, what the hell is this doing here?
Yeah.
A Citroen 2CV.
Yep, a De Chevaux. There's a company that does touring with these. So you hop.
Oh, wow.
Picture, a full-size American in the back seat of this little snail-shaped thing that has like 38 horsepower.
With a seat that looks like a lawn chair.
Driving up to Sacré-Cœur.
That is hilarious.
I mean, that's a Sprinter behind it. So
yeah.
That's a smaller Sprinter behind it. But these were the most common, like, truly French thing. The most oddball, like, no, yeah. And then the next two, these are Citroen Maharis.
Go back to the first picture, Chad. Yeah.
Yeah.
My aunt's friend Buffy, her husband worked for Jacques Cousteau. She had one of these, but they put a 4CV motor in it, and it stuck out of the front of it. He cut the hood, and that's what she drove around in California.
That's funny.
I'm like, why is the motor hanging out of the front of it?
And those things have the funkiest shifter for the transmission. It's a manual transmission, but the best way I can explain it, if you've ever seen like the shifter on a Honda Fit where it comes out of the dash and juts up at an angle towards you,
Yep.
like that, but you turn it on its side and you basically rotate your wrist and in and out to shift. That's not the way you think it would be.
It's
That's
French.
funny,
What do you expect?
right?
But go on.
And then the little Jeepish Maharis, if you want to go to the orange picture. So
Yeah.
these, I only saw these at Sacré-Cœur. That's where this is at. That big hill going up to the northwest corner is the hill that goes up to the base of Sacré-Cœur.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these things were they were cycling them. Like you'd have like a limo or a sedan come up as a taxi. So a lot of the all black cars you see in any photos, usually it's a taxi. And then you had this thing, which looks like somebody stole the corrugated metal roof off of a shack somewhere here in Kentucky, painted it a color, and stuck a Briggs and Stratton motor with a missing spark plug in it. And there you go. That's what it sounded like. I'm like, this thing might make 40 horsepower on its best day. And a light 4x4 like this, that's basically any early UTV. It functions until you put my American sized ass in it, which never happened. 38 horsepower, me haul it up 500 feet to Sacré-Cœur is a little bit of an ask.
I think I can. I think I can. I think I can.
Right.
You get in, the springs settle, and it makes a noise that sounds roughly like neb. Yeah, not good. Happily, the only two vehicles I was in the entire time that were not public transportation, we went from the airport to the hotel in a Toyota Camry, and from the hotel back to the airport in a Toyota Corolla station wagon.
Nice.
No. The Camry, if the guy would have turned the air conditioner on, it would have been a lot better. Corolla
Right.
is a nice sized little wagon, but the roof is so sloped back to make it look cooler that I am sitting in the back. I am literally neck at a 90-degree angle and as shrunken in as possible. Ugh.
That's funny. Well, the those little cars remind me of the mini mokes that,
Mhm.
and there's several others that are, built to be the same way, but that are, what people referred to as island cars, like you would have seen on the Fantasy Island TV show and other stuff that had like some of them had literally a thatch, or like woven, reed kind of top, to make them look cool on an island. But that's what those things remind me of.
It's funny you say that because now I'm picturing that Valaria wagon thing from Fantasy Island. If I had some pants, I would have choked.
Yeah. Yep.
The plane. The plane.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me one. I got one last French thing. I'm trying to look it up, just a historical fact, but go on while you're doing it.
No. I was going to ask you, did you see any interesting driving behavior while you were there?
Overall, if you get away from like metros and the motorways, they're pretty easy going.
Yeah.
The bikes and the mopeds rule all and act like Seattle. They have the right of way. They don't care. They'll run you over. But they have their own lane, and they're pretty, like, they'll respond to lights.
Right.
Not really. The only time traffic got even close to Harry was when we were on the way back to the airport. And the idea of merging is used with centimeters, not inches or feet. They merge like you see the bumper shedding chrome as you do it.
Oh yeah. Well, the reason that I asked that is when one of the times that we were in Paris, literally me and Dad, and there was a big group of us, but Mom and Dad and I and other people we worked with were walking down the street, and it was in the evening, and we were going to a restaurant or whatever. We were on our way there, and we're walking along, and we're coming to the end of a block, and we get I don't know, like let's say 2 or 3 car lengths from the corner, and there's two cars, pulled all the way up to the corner that are parallel parked, and then the space for a car, and then another, line of cars. So there was one open spot, and this dude pulls up in a car, and the space was not big enough for the car by about, I'm going to say 6 or 8 inches too small. And oh yeah, Home Slice backs her in and just shoves, and then gets until he can get the corner of the bumper under the, behind the one in front of him, and gives it a nudge, and literally does this like, and we stand right there, and I mean it's in front of us watching, right? And keep in mind, this is before, video cameras in our phones.
You're just standing there like,
we're like dumbfounded, and this dude has to bump the car behind him and in front of him, each one 20 times, okay, maybe 25 times, and ultimately gets all the way over up against the curb and gets out like this is normal, right? We are dying.
That is normal.
Oh yeah, we are dying. I'm like, holy crap.
Did you ever see that Top Gear deal when they're driving around all the French cars and they're just driving past each other, tearing the mirrors and the doors and stuff?
Yeah. Hey, nobody even thinks about it there.
I'm gonna try.
Oh my god, it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was either Top Gear or Grand Tour, where they went through Paris and talked about like the amount of damage on the parked cars there, that they'd never seen anything like that, and described, that's how they park there. I mean, you buy a car, it's not, you don't buy a car as like something, hey, I'm gonna have or something like that. It's basically transportation, and it's gonna get used up, and you're gonna buy a new one. Event later on down the road is basically.
If it doesn't have a dented panel on it, you haven't left the dealership yet.
Right.
Yeah. That I didn't see. Honestly, I didn't.
It was nuts.
When I was there,
so hard, I thought we were gonna die.
The funniest thing I saw when I was there was there was all these cars with missing license plates, and they just wrote the number on the back of the car or the motorcycle.
And was it because they had literally bashed the license plate off of them? Mm-hmm. I love that.
Speaking,
so happy.
To go off topic a little bit on license plates, the state of Texas is not going to have a temporary paper tag anymore.
No.
Yep.
Because in the one of the other wise decisions of this hellhole of a state that I live in, they have decided that
I'm moving to Texas because it's going to be better.
Yeah, another thing that they don't trust people on, so they're just not going to have them anymore. So paper plates, like they literally don't believe that any of them are real, because there are people that forge them, right? So they're just
Photoshop. It's like you can make one
really
in Photoshop in like 5 minutes, and you're quote unquote legal to drive down the road.
Well, no, you're not legal, but the problem is the problem here is that the police in Texas are arguably the most inept anywhere I've ever been in my life, and so asking them to use the insane amount of computing power that they have in their police car, along with the 8 trillion candle power worth of LED lights in order to look up a license plate as they follow somebody down the road, is too much to ask. So they're just going to get rid of them altogether, and then it gives them an extra excuse to be able to pull brown people over. I mean, let's just not sugarcoat it. That's the reason, is that they go, ooh, now we have a reason to pull brown people over and check, because now we have a legal reason to do so. So yeah.
And that's what's funny is, like, I am actually running a Texas temporary plate on my Suburban right now.
That's awesome. Yes, probable cause, Jet Black.
And actually went through a legit company to get it.
I'm not even going to say it.
What?
They're
Probable cause?
targeting you, James.
No,
Yep.
I'm going to say the car's going to be crashed in like 3 days anyway, so it doesn't make any difference.
The Suburban will be upside down on the side of the freeway. They'll be cutting Wickman out of it.
I've been driving it.
Are you loving it or no?
It needs the straight. I'm kind of over the straight pipe exhaust right now.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
would
one of those
too.
things where I wish I had a driveway where I could actually work on it and not a apartment parking lot where I could actually spend some time with it. And it's one of those things that's like, I don't have like electrical outlet like close to it. I could run like 100-foot extension cord from my patio to out to it. But then again, it's like, I don't want to make a mess on the ground. I don't want to inconvenience my neighbors. Don't want to have them pissed off and like say, hey, this guy's working on his stuff out in the parking lot, making all this noise. And it's like, and basically causing a rift with the leasing office. I just trying to keep my head down and do my thing. But
all you have to do is go cruise a couple of local O'Reilly Auto Parts or Vato Zones or whatever auto parts stores there are there, and find the one with the most grease stains in the parking lot and with an electrical outlet and a light pole, and that's the one where you work on your junk all day outside and nobody bothers you.
And they won't care.
Yep.
Yeah, I've almost come to that point
they have
to
lots
do
of
that.
auto shops set up that way. So yeah.
Yeah. I do have access to the auto hobby shop at the Air Force Academy, but that's over an hour away.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean,
I'm spoiled, I guess.
You are. Big shop
I've been fortunate enough to I met a guy through Joe Barry that he is the head of the maintenance department at the Air Force Academy.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, oh yeah. And also James Pringle, his son goes to the academy. So between the two of them, basically said, we'll get you in. It's like, just let us know. But again, it's like, it's a matter of like getting up early in the morning, go down on one of the days they're open and actually doing it. So,
right.
But do it one day.
Speaking of which, mentioning the name Barry, did you hear that Tom Barry passed away?
I did not.
Yeah, you remember him, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The guy that used to autocross with us and
yes,
race the Porsche and everything. He passed away this week.
Oh wow, that's too bad.
Yeah, sucks.
He had a cool car.
Yeah, and been in the car with him a number of times, and he was just full of information, and just can't say enough good things about him. But we lost another good one.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, sorry to just break that off like that, but
no,
that's the name
fine.
Barry, but
right.
I don't want to forget about him either.
Right. What do you know what happened to him, or?
I haven't heard the specifics. Mary Posey probably knows more than I do about it.
Okay, gotcha.
Jason from TCI posted up some stuff yesterday about it, but it was just kind of a rundown of good things he's done and cars he's driven and people he's helped, and
that's cool.
He's just a good guy.
Yeah, I remember.
I put him in the 32.
Now that you say the Porsche,
he gave me a laundry list of things that were wrong with it.
Oh. That's awesome.
Which I already knew most of them, but
Yeah, that's pretty good.
just great people, and he's going to be missed.
There's been too many of those lately, for sure.
Yeah.
Facebook has just been full of people, it seems like. And we're halfway through the year, as McTaggart said, and God, it feels like we've lost a bunch of people this year already.
I mean, they're just stacking up like cordwood, is what it
Yeah.
looks like.
Oh yeah,
It sucks.
absolutely. I'm looking at the other stuff on the list here. You had brought up the sideshow laws that have been passed. We lost Quickman, and there he is again.
California passed a new law starting, if I'm not mistaken, and don't quote me on this, but yesterday, falls in line with the old street racing stuff.
Okay.
Get caught, either in person or on camera, where they can prove it and prove it was you in a car. Your car gets confiscated.
Oh, and are they crushing them and all that, or?
They are going to people's houses with all these guys posting up stuff on Instagram because everybody's got their little Instagram deal on their window.
Yep.
And they're going and picking their cars up, and they're going to crush that shit.
Wow. Well,
yeah,
and for anybody that
anymore.
Yeah, for anybody that isn't aware, they've had that ability in California for many, many years, with regards to street racing, as Crosby mentioned. And there are some communities that, and I don't know if they're still doing this, but years ago, that were crushing cars live on TV, like during the news broadcast.
With a Caterpillar.
Yes. And, obviously that didn't go over well, with the enthusiasts, but the reality is,
there are people getting freaking killed out here.
Exactly. Yep. And, I mean, and it used to be that the news, it would always make me mad growing up, because the news would have a report, drag racing kills this and that and the other, right? And I was like, no, it's street racing. It's not the same thing. And eventually they got better about that, and they, described it better. But, the reality is, it's still same thing, right? And, same result. And now it is a lot more likely to hear that a sideshow or a takeover has killed somebody than to hear it about street racing. These dudes are just, they're taking it to the streets, and God, it's, I don't know. For me, like, I know a bunch of people in that scene, and
I don't personally like that scene. I understand I don't want to be the old man here, old gray-haired dude sitting here bagging on this shit. But it's just like us. When I used to race on the street, we'd set up the race for like 2:00 in the morning, and it was just me and whoever we were racing that night.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. We weren't lining up with 300 people on either side or in the middle of the cars doing burnouts and stuff like that. I just don't get it. I mean, why would you put yourself in that situation?
Right. And when I street raced, there were a lot of people around, okay, but we were doing it in locations that were not with traffic or bystanders, right?
And we, so the people that were there for the races. The big end blocking it off to where
Yes.
people couldn't come across. I mean, we planned this stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, as well as you could. I mean, it's still stupid, but
Well,
I mean,
Right.
this is where I need to step in because, frankly, I can point it is the Fast and Furious mindset.
yeah,
Right.
Because none of this, like, it was one thing to go to a street race where it was a lineup run. You had somebody at the finish line, somebody at the starting line, and blockers on both ends and spotters.
mm-hmm.
Then you have these movies where it looks like there's massive crowds, and this is like an outdoor club with some tire smoke. And even then, and we're talking mid 2000s to about mid 2010s, even then it was still more about racing than anything. It wasn't so much like anybody who was parked and they're off on the side doing their own thing. Worst they would get hit was you're there. They're not jumping in the middle of the street, and there's none of this. The sideshow scene on its own accord, where they're taking over streets, where it's locking out intersections,
Blocking out freeways,
donuts with 15 morons in the middle of the contact patch with their phones out. I'm sorry, it's Darwin's theory at work, and I could not be happier for something like this because it's been needed.
Okay, all three of you guys have been behind the camera at drag races or whatever, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
How many places will they actually allow you up against the K-rail anymore?
Oh, not very many.
Handful.
Yeah.
Just a couple.
Right. Yeah. And these guys are standing right there, jumping over cars. And it's all neat and cool when you get away with it.
Yeah, but for every time you get away with it, you have 3 videos where somebody gets smacked like a baseball by a fucking Infinity doing donuts.
Yeah.
And that person.
when you're a 17-year-old getting crippled for the rest of your freaking life.
Right.
I mean, this ain't a joke.
And that's before you get into the other aspects of takeovers that have really caused people to perk up and take notice.
And what happens if you're the guy behind the wheel and you kill somebody? You go away for manslaughter, vehicular manslaughter. I mean, your life's ruined.
That's your initial thought, but you look at some of the people at these things, they don't care. These are the kind of people that will dance and smile in the courtroom because, it is what it is. That's their life.
Yeah, but here's the big deal to me. The big thing is that I feel like there are 2 kinds of people at most of these sideshows. Okay. And this I'm going based on the people that I know. And that is that there is a group of people that are trying that it's about the driving the car and putting on the show. Okay. And then there's another group of people who are that are trying to get away with something in broad daylight and get away. And those are, to me, the bigger problem, because those are the people that have no care whatsoever about, whether anybody else gets hurt or not or anything. And they're the ones that are starting these up literally in major intersections in the middle of the day, or the middle of commute hours or whatever. And that, that's a problem. If it was all about just having fun, tearing up your car and doing burnouts and putting on a show, then I could put on a sideshow every night in an area with nobody in it, in an industrial park or what have you, and never hurt a soul, and it wouldn't be hard at all. But that's not what these guys are doing. These guys want to be flaunting it in front of everybody, and they want to be able to get away with it. That's part of the rush, and that to me is the biggest problem.
The local circle track, Colorado National Speedway, up in Tacona, which is north of Denver, they started a program this year that they're allowing takeovers to happen on the infield of the racetrack.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and but yeah, you pay, I think, what is $5 or $10, I think is what they're charging to get in. And it goes from like 7 to 10 or something like that. And you can go out there and burn the tires off your vehicle all you want. And they're just giving people a place to do it, just get them off the road. And this is in conjunction with the Colorado Highway Patrol, which they recognize what they're doing. And what's funny is the racetrack got a new the racetrack got a new pace car. They actually, the Highway Patrol donated a retired patrol unit that's still decked out in the livery and all the lights to as their pace car now.
Yeah. Well,
You know
and I think all that's great, but I think there is still a group that all they care about is doing this in, where they're not allowed to. And those people are not going to be, it's not going to change anything for them. But it will change things for others. So it's a good thing. I'm not bagging on it. But you know what I mean?
You know how Pomona started?
Oh, yeah.
How did it start?
Well, the whole NHRA started to get rid of street racing. I mean, that was the whole the whole point.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's not how it started. NHRA, yes, but Pomona drag strip, you know how it originally started?
No.
One Pomona cop decided to make it so you wanted to get all the kids off the street, and it was called Pomona Drags.
And we've seen this story before. You look at Brotherhood, you look at, I mean, there's plenty of drag strips where it was a grassroots effort to get kids somewhere where they could be fine. That's not the problem here. Chad's really striking the problem, which is there's an element to the
I totally agree with what Chad's saying. I'm not discounting that whatsoever. I'm simply saying that a lot of this stuff originally was started, but has been bastardized by people that want to stop racing. So it's like the gun conversation. If you take away the gun, then nobody will get shot. But it don't work that way.
Right.
You need to give them somewhere. You need to give them all somewhere to go to actually do this stuff. But Chad also touched on the situation of a lot of these people. They don't give a rat's ass. They just want to go out there and do the fast and furious crap.
A bigger question to answer, because you look at street racing in its traditional form. You look at pop-up car shows, or even car shows, like people just like camped out in the parking lot just doing their thing. That's been, you have police chase them out. I know I had that happen in Washington State.
But still, it's the definitions of a car show and drag racing are so convoluted at this point.
Yeah, but there's no mistaking what a takeover or a sideshow is, and there's an element to that that's beyond the normal.
Right.
But if somebody says somebody racing down the freeway for 14 miles is a drag race on the news, that's what everybody thinks a drag race is.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
The definitions are so screwed up that people don't even know what's going on. I mean, I don't know what's confusing you, but
no, it's the question is, what's the bigger issue to tackle? Not what's confusing me. I know, what it all is. The general public are morons when it comes to the automotive culture in the beginning. We all know this.
Oh, yeah.
But takeover and sideshow are so well defined by themselves. Basically, the people who brought this culture to life, and there's no mistaking it. You see two cars doing roll racing, you can call it drag racing, you can call it whatever. It's street racing. You see a bunch of cars in a parking lot, car show, meet and greet, cars and coffee, call it whatever. there's no mistaking when they block off an intersection and a G37 and some stolen Mustang are whipping donuts and bouncing some kid off.
Right.
There's no mistaking that.
You're
No.
lucky if it's only one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if only. But the question is, or the thing in my head is like, you look at like the street racing, you look at car shows, it's like it was a matter of, will they do it legally, and is there a place where they can do it legally, which has always been the problem. Takeovers have always been, from the start, an illegal move. It has been a power play. What can I get away with? How can I demonstrate that I run this section? I'm controlling this. These are my people. This is my crew. This is my city. Call it what you will. And as by default, it's that they want it to be illegal. They want it wild. They don't want it corralled. Even when we do these things at LS Fest West, where we have a takeover pit set up and we let them get absolutely wild, for some people, it's still not enough. You know, we had people that go into the pit, do their thing, put on a show for everybody who's at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and then, 4 or 5 hours later, they're somewhere in the middle of Vegas doing the exact same thing.
Right.
So,
But I guess my question would be, how does that stuff get corrected?
unfortunately, in this case, I think the new bill is the way. This is one of the few times I completely agree with the California law.
Unfortunately, I actually agree with it as well.
Yeah.
Well,
I hate to see that it's had to go there, but at the same time, I understand why it has, because, we're not the only ones asking this question. So are, the lawmakers. And if they're asking this same question because they don't know what else to do, then they're going to do what their job title says.
The cops can't walk out there and just start shooting people to stop them. So
no.
Well, in the early days of drag racing, back in the 30s and 40s, when it was basically criminal, the big reason why things like NHRA and local clubs became such a good thing for drag racing is because they self-policed. There has been no self-policing.
Right. Well, you have guys like Alex Hernandez who have put on series and who get guys to come and and have fun at events instead. And he continues to do that, at the casino and all that. And he's been a huge help in that world.
I'm all down for him to have an organized event. I think that's great because that's what we were offered when we were younger.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But it's how do you take care of the other element to it, the darker element to it?
Right. Yep.
And
well, the police have finally realized.
Go
ahead. That it's all word of mouth on social media, and they've got into whatever groups or pages, I guess you could say, infiltrate and find out where these are going on. Then like that one intersection that's a hot spot in Oakland or Alameda or wherever it is, and where it's basically there's only 4 ways in and out, which is basically it happens at this one major intersection, and they come in and just basically block everything off and kind of like just roll in like down the street and corral everybody.
Yep.
And I mean, you could see this one intersection that in videos that it is literally like looking like a Sunday afternoon after an NHRA event. That, I mean, it is literally completely black from all the rubber.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so it's like, that's something that just hadn't happened like overnight. This is like days, weeks, months where this has been taking place. And I think what it is that it's not that the people are finally like bitching about it. I think the laws now where it can inconvenience a lawmaker, where it's like, we need to do something about this now because it's like I had to sit in traffic for 15 minutes because an intersection was blocked off.
wouldn't be the first time a lawmaker getting inconvenienced. I mean, all the diesel crackdown was because somebody rolled coal on a New England lawmaker of some kind, just flooded out his Nissan Leaf or whatever it was. That's honestly where it started.
Yep.
So yeah, you start stoking the fires with politicians, and you get them amped up. If this is a way to avoid.
Here's the thing, I've been very vocal about, in particular, the diesel guys that are rolling coal. So here's the thing. I mean, not to sugarcoat it. If your activity fucks up my ability to do my activity, and my activity is not against the law, and my activity is being done in a respectable place, and you are screwing that up for me because of your actions, right? If you're keeping me from being able to drive my legal streetcar and go on drag and drive events, or go to the drag strip, or have drag strips be open and all those things, then I have zero sympathy for you. You're dead to me. Right,
perfect example of that. Look at what McTaggart's building, the new Hemi in his car. That car is going to put out 1/10 of the emissions that car put out originally.
Oh, absolutely.
If that.
Yes.
And it's going to haul freaking ass.
Yeah, it will be in every measure a better car.
It'll get 22 miles a gallon. It's got 470 at the rear tire.
Right.
The stuff we're building nowadays is more efficient than it's ever been.
Yep.
And you got people out there with these stupid diesel trucks blowing coal out the tailpipe, pissing everybody off for no good reason. It doesn't do anything. It just looks cool.
Yeah. Yep, agreed. Agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So for me, while I don't want anybody to be, hindered from having a good time, that only is okay if your good time is not, negatively impacting somebody else or keeping them from having a good time. So, and that goes for everything in our world, right?
I mean, we've gone to
step up, guys. We've
gone to great lengths to inform people. I mean, look what happened to Lyle. I mean, we've gone to great lengths to inform people. There's safety equipment out there. Utilize it because it's in your best interest.
Yep.
And then you got people out there doing
just use more than half a brain
messes
cell.
Everything up for everybody.
That's all we ask. Use your brain.
Yeah.
Right.
There's plenty of ways to make a diesel haul last that doesn't involve, belching out Titanic level smoke.
Yeah.
Right.
There's plenty of ways to have fun and get stupid with a car that doesn't involve an intersection, killing other people's time, pissing people off, and, risking effectively your friends and your supporters.
Right.
Or your freedom.
Right.
I mean, this could, by all sense of the words, put you in jail for
you're
25 years.
When you go do these takeover things, you are literally practically begging the police to come arrest you, take your shit, throw you in the cage, and cause your life hell. And then you want to go and cry about it when they do it. Well, this is the kind of shit that happens. These laws are what happens, and I don't feel the least bit of sympathy for you. None.
Right.
Not a ounce.
I don't either.
Yep, I agree.
So.
I agree.
Now, odd segue, but let's go with it.
Go ahead.
One of the more common vehicles at these events, SRT tinged Chryslers.
Yep.
I knew we were going there soon.
Which I find incredibly entertaining, considering that not one of them has ever left the factory with a rear differential that is capable of consistently spinning both tires. So that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But that's a side note. Go ahead.
Well, I've also seen Corvettes chuck their rears just as hard. So
yeah,
50 of one, half the other.
I don't think that's the road he was going down on that one.
No, but I couldn't help stabbing the knife when I could.
I'm all in.
I will say the AI videos that have been floating around the past couple of weeks with the Chargers and Hellcats and all that stuff have been hilarious. Scott Brown and myself have been going back and forth with all the crazy ones we've been finding, just laughing our asses off on them. And this is where I do approve of AI doing that kind of thing.
Well, luckily enough, though, most of these cars that are in the videos, they're not owned by the guys that are driving them, so they're not out
That's
any
true.
money.
Anyway,
But the reason that that McTaggart was bringing this up is actually for industry news. So go ahead,
I know,
McTaggart.
I know.
So yeah, so in the Mopar world, Tim Kuniskis, maybe a little bit insane, but the right kind of insane. So the last we had heard of him, they started putting V8s back in the Ram trucks, just a common sense move. Had their best sales, if I remember right. I should have had this queued up too, but bear with me.
What are you looking for?
The amount of orders, within 24 hours of the announcement that the Hemi was going back in Ram, they took 10,000 orders.
And what's funny is that there hasn't been a time when you couldn't get a Hemi and a Ram. So, there isn't a dealership on the planet that didn't have one. So I don't understand, but I'm happy for Chrysler though.
So it's only the 2025 model year is locked out in the half ton only.
Right.
But that's still a big chunk of change. That's still a big market for them. So 10,000 trucks in 24 hours to get a 5.7 back in your half ton Ram is still not bad. In any case.
Well, also, Dodge is re-entering the, I'm not sure what they call this series now, the truck series in NASCAR starting next year.
Good for them.
Yes.
It's a silhouette body and a GM engine. Next.
Yeah.
It's an Elmore V8 and it's a NASCAR.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for them.
It's still promoting your brand. So
It is. And I will say that the truck looks good. The race truck concept they put out when they did the announcement looks good. I'll stop there. But in any case, I'm not a fan of NASCAR. I'm not a fan of Craftsman truck. I respect them, but they're silhouette cars. It's basically grown-up remote control in my head.
Hey.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we're all dealing with that here. So
I know.
Yeah. I mean, every single manufacturer has to cut, and this is not an exaggeration, 2 feet out of the height from the hood to the bottom of the bumper to be a Craftsman truck. 2 feet, because the grill on the front of these things is so absurd nowadays. If you saw a Craftsman truck up close and in person, it's tiny compared to an actual Dodge or GM or Ford or whatever. So yeah.
What's funny is these guys that do the street legal retired stock cars, where they take one of those chassis, then they like go to slap a body on it, and they're like, "Oh shit, I gotta cut here, section this, narrow this, and all this." And by the time they're said and done, it's like what they started with. It doesn't even resemble what the body originally started out as.
You mean NASCAR?
No, NASCAR was a bastardization. I'm thinking more like
don't get me started on that hermaphrodite thing.
Anyways, back to your news.
Meanwhile, back in the jungle.
The true news is that Kuniskis, as of this morning, was appointed to. He's now the head of all of the American branding, head of North America marketing and retail strategy. So the guy that made the cars that everybody wanted and everybody adored and everybody bitched about when they were told they weren't getting him anymore is now running shit in the North American market. In addition, the company has basically rebirthed SRT, the Street Racing Technology Group. So that's the fun division. That's the division that's been born out of several different ashes of different groups like SVE and PVO the Viper team and stuff like that. It dates back to about 1990.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So killing the SRT basically looked like a more symbolic move when they did it. We're done. We've had our fun. You have your loud V8s. Now we're going to move to the land of smooth European 6s and EVs and shut up and like it. And the universe basically responded with a unified middle finger and booted the guy out. So Carlos Tavares
and it's just a sign of let me back up. So two things. So if what's his Julio is not successful with this, then Kaniskas, he will literally not be able to get a job selling snow cones in the middle of the Sahara, because it has never been easier to market this than right now, like ever. Like a complete imbecile can do this and sell 1 million cars. Like it requires zero skill whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately for him, while this is all great, he is now at the very top and he is teetering on a very razor thin edge, and the only place he has to go is down. So he better hold on tight.
In the meantime, what we're looking at.
But the number two thing about that is this: he's just taken the leap. But all of the federal law that's telling California they can't do what they want to do, and all of those things, that's all temporary. None of that's going to stand in the long run, nor will any of it matter in the long run. But the reason that this is important, and the rest of the country won't pay any attention to this when I say this, but more trucks are sold in the state of California than any other state. More SUVs are sold in California than any other state. And more performance vehicles are sold in California than any other state. And you can say whatever you want about California not being hot rodder friendly or what have you. But there are still more performance vehicles and more vintage vehicles, more classic vehicles, more antique vehicles that are registered in the state of California per capita, not just because it's bigger, than in any other part of the country. So enthusiasts for cars live in California. And so this is just an excuse to bring SRT back. There was no reason for it to have gone away to begin with. But it makes a good splash, and if that helps the folks at Stellantis, then I say good for them.
There's a vehicle I'm wondering about.
Hold on a second, McTaggart. If I'm not mistaken, the SRT line, as far as emissions levels, were like the lowest out of the performance lines, weren't they?
As in what? Compared to
Chevrolet and Ford, you
like
mean?
Chevrolet and Ford, because they had a lot of the smaller engines that actually performed well but met the emission standards. So they
I have no
counteracted.
clue.
I couldn't tell you.
I'm pretty sure that Mopar had that locked up.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. But
yeah, I don't know.
If we're talking heavy hitters, I would have to check for sure. The problem is that with GM, you dilute the numbers with the mass amounts of emissions perfect V8s they've sold in trucks and SUVs.
Right, but Mopar always had the 4-cylinder high performance stuff, even like the Neo.
I would have waited for a while though. That didn't last long. Basically, the SRT4,
you might be right, but I think the SRT line, with everything they had in their lineup, had the lowest emissions.
In the 2000s, that may have worked because you have, let's see, you have the Neon SRT4, little turbo Ford, no harm, no foul there, but that was also a spicy little thing, so I don't know how well it actually did.
But they had
that was after all the others.
The Jeep stuff too.
Well, and that was after the GLH and and all of those as well. So, but that was pre SRT, but it was still
That's
Mopar performance and all.
the basis of what is now SRT starts with Team Viper in about 1989 or 90. So that's the mark. Then the thing is, I couldn't tell you the emissions rating versus the 4-cylinder versus the V8s versus the V10. It's hard to tell.
Because
the V10 has always been emissions.
GM really didn't have anything to counteract all the performance vehicles, or to offset, I think is the term.
If anything, GM had things, because for every Corvette or Camaro sold, you're dumping out Cruises, Malibus, 4-cylinder V6 cars. You had hybrids with the Volt. If anything, GM probably had better footing. Ford, I can't
remember who like I said, I could be wrong, but I think Mopar had it covered on their lineup.
That's I couldn't tell you one way or the other. My concern is right now watching and seeing what moves are going to be made. I mean, their initial launch with all this work was Kaniskis putting out a video basically saying, yeah, we screwed up. We took the V8 out of the truck. It's coming back, yada, yada. Cue patriotism. I'm curious to see what they're actually going to do with the new Charger with this change. Obviously, it's a good-looking car, but it definitely needed something other than the Jetson it's got now. And I have nothing against the inline 6. The power levels are fine. Same with the truck.
And what motor is the inline 6 now?
So the inline 6 is a 3-liter twin turbocharged unit, the Hurricane engine, and it's got 2 ratings. I believe it's 420 and 550 horsepower, depending on how you option it. It's in the trucks, it's in the Grand Wagoneer, it's in the Charger as a gas option. Power-wise, it's fine. It's complexity that concerns me. That's always been my thing, because a twin turbocharged 6, especially a brand new one like that engine is, there's always that bit of concern, especially when it comes to anything Chrysler. It's not Toyota. You have to think about that. The Hemi has proven to be pretty much an anvil during its production run, as long as you don't count upper ringlands.
Right.
So
can my 4.8 LS make 1,500 horsepower? Yes, but only once.
A vehicle I'm curious about that if Dodge is going to bring to the States is the compact truck that they have that's like similar to in size to the Maverick.
what is it called? The Ram 700, the one from South America?
Yeah, because there was people talking that it was gonna come to the States and it was labeled the Rampage.
Well, the problem with anything that would come out of Brazil, right?
Yeah.
Likely, yeah.
Okay. They don't have the same safety standards down there that we do.
No, they'd have to completely federalize it, and that's going to be time and investment.
Yeah.
Now, if they pulled it off, if they've been working on it, the Maverick could use competition.
Yeah,
and you're missing the bigger deal here. There's you can automatically just assume that in 99.9% of circumstances, no newly imported vehicle is going to happen, because in addition to the increased cost of making it legal in the United States of America, you also then have tariffs that are going to be added to it, and that makes for a car that people can't afford to get. So
Brazil has a 10% agreement, though.
Well, they do right now, but
right
you
now.
can't. There's no longevity on any of the agreements. I just had a conversation yesterday with a guy from General Motors who told me that right now there might as well be no regulations of any kind, that it literally is day by day, and because of that, under no circumstances will they do anything that requires an expenditure in a long term when they could get to the end where it was ready to go, and then Trump changes his mind the next day and puts 100%
Okay.
tariff on something, and they can't do it. So there is nothing coming down the pike like that. Realistically, they will only be doing things that are already in the works and that are that won't have a big risk factor as far
Right.
as for that to happen.
Okay,
So
You-
I
so
would be surprised.
I'm going to say the quiet part out loud right now.
Okay.
It's gonna piss off a lot of people, I'm sure, and I apologize. But the biggest thing that is screwing up everything are freaking unions, because and most unions are literally just keeping people in a job that don't deserve the job in the fucking first place. I'm sorry for the language, but they literally are just, they're artificially making wages higher, because if you can ship something from China to here, have somebody build it over there, no emission standards or anything, EPA, no unions, nothing else, and it comes all the way across the ocean on a ship that burns thousands of gallons of fuel, we might have a problem here of actually manufacturing stuff at a reasonable rate. Just
Yeah.
because you're building something doesn't mean you deserve $150,000 a year and you can't even spell your name right.
Hold on one second. Alex is sending me a message right now.
I'd say Monday I went to a job fair. I'm trying to get back to work, and this was for a government job. People were invited to come in and do this. I got an invite, went in, and this room they had computers set up, and of the 5 computers that were at this table, I was at one of them. 3 of the people could not figure out how to do a password to do a login. They had to get assistance. So when they said, all right, it needs to be 15 characters long and you need to use an uppercase and a symbol. And these are people that were applying for a government job.
What's uppercase? Symbol?
Yeah.
I mean, that
like
to go along with what you're saying.
Slaps together symbols.
Yeah. And I was just like, and I just like breezed right through this thing, and the guy's like, hey, you got this figured out, and I'm like, it's not rocket surgery. I mean, it's just like just follow.
Yeah. I mean, what? God, help these poor people.
So Wickham is the smartest
reality
guy in
is
idiocracy.
The reality is that most people just can't follow instructions, period, anymore. And reading is difficult. And it's only getting worse. You're gonna laugh at this one.
Instead of teaching people pronouns, maybe we ought to teach them send people back to trade school and stuff.
They don't need that. They just need to learn how to write. So the latest thing, I was in a communications chat group thing the other day. So in Texas, and I'm sure around the country, there were a bunch of people that couldn't vote, in the election in November, because people that were that are in their late 20s down to 18 to late 20s, because they literally couldn't sign their name in a way that in any way, shape, or form matched their driver's license. Okay. And this is a real thing. It's because these people don't ever sign anything, right? They just tap their phone or tap their card They never actually have to sign anything. And so so they literally couldn't prove that they were who they said they were with their signature, to vote. Um, so which is just asinine to me. But now it's only getting worse. So we laugh at the fact that for like, oh, people can only write with their thumbs, right? Okay, well now, nope, nope, that's on the decline. You know why? Voice text. Now voice texting is making it so that people are even less capable of spelling and or typing. And so before too long, people will go, I don't know what to do with my hands. The reality is, um, you know, AI could be as smart as it needs to be, but by the time we're done, and thankfully I'll be long dead and gone, I hope, um, you'll be able to use the Radio Shack robot from 1990 to take over the world before it's over, because everybody else that's going to be left is too stupid to breathe. So
Have
it
you ever
won't take
seen
very much AI technology to
Have
take
you ever
us
seen
over.
the movie Idiocracy?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what we're headed for.
Well, like
Yeah.
the app DocuSign, all you got to do is type your name, and then you can select how you want your name spelled out in what
Yes.
fancy way of cursive. And I was just like,
Dante, you are correct. Dante is correct. Well, what do you expect when public education has been under heavy attack for 30 plus years? I agree with you wholeheartedly there, my friend.
So on the subject of everything, there was a story that came out about 5-ish years ago, maybe a little more. Some moron in Washington State decided to be cute and signed his driver's license with 3 kitty symbols, like 3 cat head symbols.
Okay.
And as a result, when it came time for him to buy a house 8 years later, the retardation of his entire decision came back to haunt him because he had to sign every time 3 little cat heads to do his house buying paperwork. You know, the Bible stack that you have to do to buy a house.
Yeah, you
1,
have to
2,
sign
3,
like
1, 2, 3,
40
1, 2,
times
3.
and initial. So what? Every page you have to
Yeah, how
initial,
do you
and
initial?
you
So
just put one cat head. That's your initial.
Yeah.
now, what
Okay.
I do have multiple signatures. I have the quick and dirty, like I do scratching it. I have my
Well, yeah.
official signature. I have my initial signature. They're all universal. If I lined all 3 up, you can tell, yes, there's a theme here.
Correct. Me too. Right. I have an
yep,
autograph signature. I have a legal signature. I have the quick and dirty, and I have a credit card one.
Yep.
Like, totally understandable. Absolutely.
Well,
But
I have Parkinson's, so it looks like Michael J. Fox playing Zorro.
I
hey,
have the John Force autograph signature. So,
oh, do
or it's
you?
just basically like a
A letter.
Yeah,
Good
where
for
you
you.
just do one letter. Yeah.
exactly.
I call that the "you just shot your load" signature, because it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Whatever. The the great thing to me though is this one. So there's a woman on TikTok who's hilarious, and she is the Gen X lady. Like, she has become the spokesperson for all Gen Xers, and she was commenting on a TikTok video that somebody else put up that was a Gen Xer talking about her grandchildren. And this woman's like, okay, I may go to jail because I threatened the lives of my grandkids. And she said, let me tell you why, though. So her grandchildren, who are like teenagers, um, I say teenagers, like maybe 10 to 13, somewhere in there. Okay, so getting close. They were doing a challenge, okay, that they had seen online. And the challenge was to see if you could write your name all the way through without lifting your pen or pencil off of the paper. And she said, yes, grandkids, I can do that because it's called cursive, you little retarded idiots. And she literally said, I will kill you if you ever say this in public again, because while your parents may be idiots, this reflects poorly on me. She said she then called her daughter and told her that if she didn't shape up, she would make fake charges and try and take her children from her.
Wow.
I loved it. I was like, yes, yes.
You know, I'm
I mean,
inspired by my
my
recent
God,
man.
right?
Well, how do you confuse a Gen Z car thief? Leave the
Put a
keys
clutch
in the
pedal in it.
ignition. Leave the
Yeah.
keys in the ignition. Write the directions on the dash, how to drive the car in cursive, and put 3 pedals in the car.
Yeah, done. What is this for? I don't understand. You laugh at that, but I did watch a woman the other day at Home Depot. She was clicking the button and her car wouldn't unlock, right? Like the battery died or whatever. And she kept clicking it and trying to open it. And it was in a GM car. I think it was a Malibu. It had the click, the push the button and the key flips out, right?
Yeah.
Which is like my mom's Equinox. And
Right.
she clicked that and the key was sticking out and she stuck it in the door, but didn't turn it. She just stuck it in there and then tried to open the door and open the door. And about the time that I was going to say something,
And how
she
old
finally
was she?
turned it,
How old was she?
in her 20s. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, wow.
I'm inspired by my travels recently. Let's just make another challenge. Stick your head under the guillotine and see if you can grab the rope in time.
Yeah, exactly. Oops.
I'm
No
sorry. If we're going to dive in this section of the conversation and stay away from cars, y'all are fucked. There's no other way to put it. I don't care if you like my language or not. We're just done.
How I think that it's pure entertainment that that technology, which can be very helpful, don't get me wrong, and my whole life has been in technology, but also the incredibly unfortunate ways that it
has rounded off people. All the corners.
Yeah,
that's subtle. By rounding off the corners, do you mean instead of expanding our mind and our horizons, we just learned that the girl who likes tractors can make 7-figure sums a year because of where she sits on the tractor that doesn't involve the seat? That's where we're at in society.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Basically.
Yep.
It's just, I don't even know how to explain it anymore.
No.
Like, I technically, and I hate the generation mark, so I really do, but I am technically a millennial, born in 83. I was raised by the earliest Gen Xers. A couple of them idiots, but a couple of them good. And raised by a Greatest Generation member, my grandfather. And I have watched the IQ level sink like a rock. I have watched the ability to do things. One of my job interviews I had when I first moved out to Kentucky, the first question, I'm not joking in any sense when I say this, the first question they asked me was, they pointed to a mop and bucket and went, do we need to give you a class on how to work this? After I've read my resume saying I've been in the military 10 years, so yes, I know how to run a mop and bucket, you moron.
Right.
For a job for mowing lawns.
Wow.
Okay, I
walked out.
I'll throw something in there. Technically, I'm not even a Gen Xer. I'm
No,
64, so I'm a boomer.
you're
You
like the
are
very
you are on
youngest
that
of
cusp.
boomers, right? Yeah.
You're on
Yep.
that weird
I
cusp.
am
If
the
I was
last
way too
year.
older, I'd
I'm
be
the
there too.
last year.
Oh, you are the
I'm the
last year of
last.
boomers. Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Well,
So I'm not even a Gen X. So
yeah.
but the thing is, Crosby, there's always that kind of blend moment. So if I was like a year or two older, I'd be that blend for Gen X to millennial. And I still
Right, right,
personally think I am.
yeah.
But
right.
and you come off more Gen X than anything. You have this kind of flat, well, this world sucks mentality. You have that I'm doing my own thing and you all can piss off mentality. You've got the people you care about, which are short in number, and you're doing your own thing. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Which is
And
three
Well,
people
and
here.
you of your age, you've actually got a freaking brain and can do things on your own. And imagine that actually make things happen.
well, you know what's funny about it?
It
That it
what's
depends
that?
on we can't be blanket about generations, right? We all know it, right? There's
Yeah.
different things, but it is funny to see like Peyton. She, has a real work ethic and all those
Mm-hmm.
things, and gumption, and can figure out almost anything on her own, um, and blows me away with that stuff all the time. But she finds it incredibly frustrating to work with people her age, because of the fact that they don't, and so it drives her insane. Because she
This
is
coming from a girl that you had to put your shoulder to the door to get into her room because the pile of
oh
clothes was so
Tell me
high.
yeah,
your room wasn't trashed as a thing.
My
yes.
youngest daughter is the same way. She hates literally everyone that's her age group.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is
And,
she is
and
so her father's daughter. Like, she's more like me all the time, and it is hilarious. And mom like cracks up about it all the time. Oh yeah, it should not be surprising, but it's certainly entertaining, let me tell you.
oh, I'm
Yeah, I
utterly
get phone
surprised.
calls from my youngest daughter. It's like, do you know what this bitch did today? Kind of what it starts off.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
I'm like,
totally every
I'm
day for
thinking
me
it's like,
too.
all right, was it some old lady at the grocery store or something? And then, no, it's a coworker.
Yeah.
I was just like,
All the time. All the time.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Uh
Okay.
Mike
Has this gone
Cunningham
off the
says
rails
there are
enough?
always outliers, and you are correct. Yes, both directions. So,
Yeah.
all right, gang. Well, it
But
is.
then again, Peyton's nickname is what?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Honky.
Hold on.
Honky.
Yes, honky. Sorry,
Shit.
I was thinking ding dong, and it wasn't ding donging.
Cole
Yes.
is ding dong.
Yeah. Um.
I
So.
don't know. I
Um.
don't know if you've ever heard this, McTaggart, but when I was watching them or whatever when they were Daphne and Chad were getting married, uh, we went to Chili's and I parked my truck on the other side, and he goes, "Are you afraid of your truck getting ding dong?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, somebody pulling up beside it and ding dong in your truck." I'm like, "You mean door dinging my truck?"
Oh yeah. So then that became that that Cole was ding dong,
He's
and
ding dong.
Peyton
That's why.
and
Wow.
oh no, and Peyton one time
look,
we're on a road
look at
trip.
Wickham.
Oh yeah. No. Listen to this one. Peyton one time we're driving somewhere, I don't know, like on a few hours of driving. And I think we were going to Pleasanton Good Guys or something. And Peyton has, done this trying to get big rigs to honk like 50 times on the course of this trip, and goes, "I don't understand why nobody will honk at me when I'm doing this." And I go, "Maybe it's because the windows are so tinted nobody can see you doing it, honey." And she was like, I'm like, why don't you try rolling the window down? She rolled the window down. A big rig pulled up. She did this. It honked immediately.
Yep. So,
So she became honky, and Cole was ding dong. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How
It was
about
entertaining.
when Cole was in the back of the truck going to Tucson to pick up the
Oh, this
love,
was the
and
greatest thing.
driving along, and Cole's all just comfy up against the window and everything. I rolled the window down. And he's like, ah! In the back seat. Remember that?
Oh yeah. It was
He thought he
hilarious
was
because
falling out of the truck.
oh yeah, he acted like literally like he was going to physically
Die.
fall out the window, which he would have had to have gone in the air to do, obviously. But it was pure genius on Crosby's part, and it scared the holy hell out of Cole. It was awesome. Doug DeLay is saying he saw a caption 500 miles an hour into a crowd in an air show.
Oh shit!
I don't know.
Don't know. I haven't seen that.
I'm looking. I don't see
But
anything.
Is that like Oshkosh or Reno or
it'd have to be
Paris?
Reno right
Wasn't
now.
in Paris. I would have heard about that.
Yeah, he
It'd
was
have to be
there for the
Reno
Paris
right
Air.
now.
In
Reno air races, I thought were done. I thought they didn't do them
No.
anymore. I don't know.
No, I thought it was a 4th of July weekend for all those.
I'm not seeing anything popping up on news.
Oh!
Me neither.
Speaking of air stuff, and I'm sure the statute of limitations has run out on this one. Me and my sister were talking last night.
Doug sent me a link. Sorry, but go ahead.
So they were doing. Are you posting something or what?
No, go ahead.
So they were getting my sister with a KC-10 pilot.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
And they were doing testing with the B2s on refueling back in the early 90s. And I guess Chuck Yeager showed up for this, and everybody knows who he is. And I guess he said there was no way in hell that females were ever going to fly fighter planes. And my sister, being the first female reserve F-16 pilot, proved that statement wrong.
Yeah.
But I go back. He said that statement to her, and I guess the next day she pulled up and they were doing this whole NASA thing for the B-2s. I don't know if I should be telling the story or not, but I'm going to tell it anyway. She pulls up, and there's a sign that's obviously a temporary sign for Chuck Yeager only parking. My sister pulls up, parks the truck she's driving in Chuck Yeager's spot, and
as
goes
I would
over
have expected,
and proceeds to rip the sign out of the ground and throw it in the bed of the truck.
That's awesome.
She's telling me this story, and I am like in tears, laugh my ass off because I can totally picture my sister doing this. And then she proceeds to go meet her crew that are going to be refueling the B2s. And she goes, I got a present for you in the back of the truck. And her crew goes over and drags the sign out of the truck and hangs it on the wall with 2 big nails.
Oh no, that's awesome.
I'm like, no, you didn't. She goes, oh yeah. She goes, don't ever tell me a woman can't do something.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, so the airplane crash was at the Reno Air Races, not now. It was in the past. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Well, boys and girls, it's time to cut this thing loose. We have been live for hour and 40 minutes, and so we are going to shut her down. but I appreciate you boys joining us tonight. McTaggart, I hope you feel better.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I do as well.
You
And
did a fine job
Wickham,
tonight,
don't
but I can
crash
tell your face
anything.
hurts.
Mm.
Yeah, Wickman, no, please be very careful walking back to your apartment.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if I turn around and you can see a yellow building behind me.
I see it over your right shoulder. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Mexican restaurant. I can walk across the street.
Cool.
Oh, well, go eat Mexican food and send me pictures.
That's a street.
I can go have cocktails like at any time I want. So
Nice. Well, and you are unemployed,
yeah,
so it doesn't even matter
yeah,
what time of day.
Well, I hope you get a
right.
job soon, brother. And I
Yep.
hope you're feeling good and mobile and keep it up.
I'm doing better every day. It's like I just
Good.
want to get back to work because I've got stuff I want to pay for and get back on the road. So
All right.
Yeah, so if you're hiring and you're in Colorado, anywhere in the Denver area,
Our buddy
Wickman
needs
is
a
looking
job.
for work. Yeah.
yeah,
He can operate most heavy machinery. As long as the job doesn't involve walking, he's your guy.
Or going up and down stairs.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That's
I'm still I can go up the stairs. I'm still having issues going downstairs. So
okay, good. Let's
yeah,
let's
I
avoid
don't know
that
if that's
for now.
what you want to put on a resume or not, but
Yeah.
no,
I'm really good at
So-
going upstairs. I'm really not good at going downstairs.
yeah. So
I like turtles.
You know, and I wonder why every time Wickman applies for a job and I tell him to use me as a reference, they never call me. I don't get it.
because you never answer your phone.
Well, that's
I got
true too.
I got a wallet. I like pizza.
Exactly. All right.
Chad, hang out for a moment after.
Okay, sounds good. All right, everybody.
All right,
We
guys.
appreciate you guys joining us, and we will see you next time on PowerShift. See ya.
All right, be
See
good,
ya.
brothers. See ya. See you, McTaggart.